Thank you so much, Tali. Thank you very much. Creativity is as important as literacy today in education. Why don't we treat it with the same status? I'm quoting Sir Ken Robinson, and that was 2006 in his very famous TED Talk, How School Kills Creativity. Today we have 765 million people illiterate in the world, and our school systems lack creativity. We invite you to this extraordinary panel talking about reimagine education in the Gen AI era with my amazing panelists, Esther Wojcicki, Ronit, Maggie. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for listening. Esther, can you imagine how it is walking with Esther from the speaker's lounge to here? She's a celebrity in education. It's very hard to even get to the stage. Esther, your DLD speaker profile says you're famous for 3 things. I think that's a huge understatement. You're a teacher, you're a journalist, you're a best-selling author. Your book, How to Raise Successful People, was translated in 32 languages and still is one of the best books to read when it comes to education. You're advising startups, you have influenced more than 5,000 students, and you've been an advisor to amazing creative people like Steve Jobs. So, I could talk 25 minutes just about Esther and her legacy, which is amazing. But there is one of the amazing things you did was inventing T.R.I.C.K,
yes,
which I think is extraordinary, not only in education. And please explain to our audience, what is T.R.I.C?
So I don't know how many of you have heard of T.R.I.C. You know, it's an acronym for what I think is important in parenting and what's important in education. And it's also important in the cultural world. It's actually important in all aspects of life, but I promote it in parenting because I think it's really important how you treat your children from birth to 5, and after 5, of course, makes a huge impact on the kind of people they're going to become. So T.R.I.C stands for trust, respect, independence, collaboration, and kindness. And that's what I did in my classes, and that's what I did with my daughters. So I trusted them, even when they were little, and I trusted my students. And you might want to ask yourself, what classes in elementary school and high school did you have where the teacher trusted you? I would bet most of you can't even think of one. And so when you trust a student, and a person in a position of responsibility trusts a student, that student somehow feels like they're more important. They believe in themselves. They start to trust their own instincts. When you respect them, that doesn't mean you do what they say. It means you listen. And you give them as much independence as possible. Because in the teenage years, I can tell you the #1 drive, biological drive, is for independence. So I wasn't trying to do anything that didn't go along with human nature. It was like I was reinforcing it. And C is for collaboration. Instead of me as a dictator in class, like most teachers are, sorry to say, but they are, I collaborated with them. And frequently people would come into my class, which was rather large. I used to have 70 kids in one class. And the visitor would come and say, well, where's the teacher? Can find the teacher, because the students would be leading the class. So why are they leading the class? Because they need the practice leading. I don't need it anymore. I've been doing it for years. So I'm giving them that opportunity. And K should be in all aspects of the world, kindness. So treat the students with kindness, they'll treat each other with kindness, and they'll treat you with kindness. They learn kindness by modeling what they see. So that's my acronym.
And I think this acronym, yes, please. As you say, it doesn't only work in education. Think about it, T.R.I.C. If we use it in all kinds of collaborations, in our work environment, in our public institutions, at a conference, how much we could change by only acting a little different than we often do. Ronit Levavi Morad, you are Senior Director and Head of Staff at Google Research, and this morning, Yossi has been on stage and gave an incredible talk. You are leading strategic programs across foundational machine learning, algorithms, AI for social impact in health, climate, and education. And you are a global AI literacy ambassador, and I know you're spearheading two amazing programs, which is Mind the Gap and Hello Tech. Please tell us more about those two programs.
Thank you, Katja. First of all, I want to say that I'm super excited and very much honored to share the floor with these great women. Thank you, Esther, for your great opening. Mind the Gap. Okay, first of all, the credit goes to Yossi. He's here with us. And he gave a remarkable talk earlier today. In 2008, Yossi and a couple of engineers, female engineers, thought that everyone would benefit from having more female engineers in the office, at the Google office in Tel Aviv. And they embarked on a journey with the mission of inspiring female teens to study STEM education and pursue careers in tech. And the rest is history. We are now operating in more than 20 countries around the world. And it's a great program. 15 years later, we founded Hello Tech. This is the name of our inspirational AI program. We decided that this is the time to inspire everyone, by the way, not just female teens, but everyone, with this notion of AI and how AI can change your life, how AI can empower you to do more and to do better. And just to conclude this part, I feel that AI, generative AI, is like a super fast train to the future. Our future is being shaped by AI as we speak. And this AI literacy thing that we are trying to give to everyone, everywhere, starting in Israel, but we are now scaling to the US, and we already have a successful pilot in Chicago, and of course, we'll go beyond that. I feel that what we do now is actually giving a sort of ticket to this train, to the future, for everyone and everywhere, and I'm really, really excited about it.
Thank you. Last but not least, we have Maggie Grout, and Maggie is the founder and CEO of Thinking Hats, and if you haven't heard of their organization, I really encourage you to look it up. Maggie founded Thinking Hats 10 years ago when she was 15 years old, and that alone is, I think, an absolutely amazing. Maggie, tell our audience what Thinking Hat is about.
So Thinking Huts is an international charity, and we utilize architectural scale 3D printing to build school infrastructure. So we're able to reduce the overall construction time, but we also have a hybrid approach. So we're still thoughtfully incorporating innovation to create jobs for local artisans. We're also trying to implement innovation in a way that we can increase the amount of schools in the smallest amount of time possible. We use a cement material for the walls. That's a frequently asked question, so it's able to withstand environmental pressures and even fires, which we're often seen, and most recently in LA, for example. So it is being considered as other applications in housing even, but we're focused on school infrastructure in East Africa at the moment.
How long does it take you to build a new school?
So the total average print time for walls for one hut is what we call a classroom, is about 18 hours, but it really depends on the size of the project.
So, yeah, did you listen to that? How long does it take us, I don't know, in the US or in Germany or in Europe to build a new school? I mean, only to ask for the money and then get started with the building process, we are talking about years, and you're doing that in a week.
Yes, it's a matter of weeks once the printer arrives on site. We do it all on the land, so it's not like prefab where you have to ship materials. Once we have it set up, then we're able to print the walls fairly quickly. And then there's also other traditional elements, of course, like foundations and like roof door windows, where that's the local materials that are still being utilized in the hybrid design.
Yeah. How did your life journey impact founding Thinking Huts?
Well, from the very beginning of it all, I was born in a rural village in China, so it's very much similar to the areas we're serving, where a lot of people don't even have the basic tools to achieve a lot of the opportunities that you all maybe have here sitting here today. And from that on, I was really inspired by the opportunity that education really harnesses for people to have a completely different life, essentially. And I was adopted around 2 years old, so I was able to experience those education opportunities, and that's what shaped me, eventually starting Thinking Huts when I was 15.
Which is... Yes, thank you. Esther, I remember through one of our brilliant conversations you mentioned that trust for teachers is the hardest to overcome. You know, what do you think are the reasons behind that?
So one of the problems with implementing my program for a lot of teachers is culture and tradition. And unfortunately, culture and tradition says to teachers that you are the one that knows everything. You lecture. The students are not supposed to question you. And you are the one that you make the tests, and you're in charge. And that culture exists all over the world. That's the teaching system everywhere. And so my program at Palo Alto High School, where actually it's the largest media journalism program in the world, with 800 students every year taking journalism. And so the question is, what can you do about this cultural barrier? And it's hard. Actually, I'd love to have any kind of suggestions from the audience, how to help teachers be more trusting of students so that then they can empower the students. And if you would have come into my program and seen the class with all the kids in there, and you would see the students running the program, you would be shocked at how well they did. And so I have thousands of kids that graduated from this program who say that that training in high school made the biggest difference in their lives. So my next book, which I'll tell you I'm in the process of writing now, is with 25 of my former students who are all incredibly successful, many of whom you'll know the names of. They're writing what they're doing now in their lives, and then they're writing about how the program impacted them. And so this is hopefully to help other teachers do the same thing. Because when you let kids run the program, honestly, if you came into the class, you're like, God, it looks like chaos in here. It actually looks kind of like this conference, to be honest. There's a lot of people talking to each other, planning things. But that's sort of what my class looked like. But they were incredibly productive. They produced a newspaper every 2 weeks. And then today, there's 14 magazines. They produce magazines every 6 weeks. And so I'm not trying to train journalists. I'm trying to train critical thinkers, people who can think and ask questions and believe in themselves. So that's my goal. And that's my goal, actually, and that's why I'm here, to see whether or not we can't help more teachers teach this way and more students have the opportunity to do project-based, peer-to-peer learning as opposed to memorization.
Yeah.
You are teachers. How many teachers? Only 2 teachers? 4 teachers? 4 teachers. I'm sure there are more teachers.
Who of you are leaders?
A few more up there.
Who?
Yes, but also, you know, if you're a manager in a company, you're also the teacher. And so, you know, people feel very hesitant to suggest new ideas or new things because the number one thing people are afraid of, the fear of looking stupid. Really, that's the number one thing that controls all these people. And so if it's okay to look stupid, you know, by asking a question or doing something that doesn't work out right away, no problem, just do it again. So that was a philosophy in my class. You didn't write it well the first time? No big deal. Just revise until you get it right. And there are really hundreds of kids. I just met today somebody from The Economist who's here. I don't know if he's in the audience. But then I mentioned to him 2 other people on The Economist staff, editors, who were part of my program. They never got any other journalism training. That was it. And, you know, they're doing a great job. So you don't have to be a journalist. You can be an innovator, a creator. I work with a lot of startups, Plug and Play, Y Combinator, a lot of those startups. They all need these same skills. Everybody needs these skills. And actually in these great schools that Maggie is building in Madagascar, if they could do that in the school, that will make a huge difference. So, I don't know, whatever we can do as a group to support teachers giving kids more control in the classroom, I think it would make a big difference for the future.
I agree. Listen carefully, leaders, because I think that's a great lesson not only for teachers as well for leaders. And the room is full of leaders. Ronit, you have been in a room at a conference just very recently with a room full of educators and students. What did you experience? Was there especially when we're talking about Gen AI, was there the more, oh my God, we are doomed, or this is a great opportunity for us to educate on a different level?
Oh my God, it depends. So just so you know, we hosted a 3-day experience for students and educators. There were thousands of them in Tel Aviv just last week. The energy was contagious. We talked about AI, and we actually wanted them to to get to know what it means when it gets to Gen AI. We wanted them to try it out to make sure that they understand what it means. And the reactions spanned from hesitation, fear, anxiety, concern, to excitement and optimism, right? We saw teachers that were, talked about the future of teaching, right? Can AI replace them? Okay, there was a real discussion on stage on these kind of questions, which are valid questions, right? And we saw, on the other hand, other educators that are happy about this kind of AI tutor or companion, something that can help them generate exams, for example, or create new compelling lessons that can help them grade exams, and give feedback to students, right? All these tasks can be done, even now, not in the future, can be done by AI. So I saw teachers, they started to talk about, okay, now we actually have more time to engage with our students. And this is the most important part because we need to take care of their emotional state. We need to support our students. And this is actually the opportunity because AI is going to do the magic, this magic. So again, it depends. But I can say that at the end of these 3 days, most of the educators went away inspired, wanting to experiment AI, okay? And it's not, inherently bad or good. It's about how we use AI. And you can use a tool and say, okay, I don't want to use it again because it's uncomfortable to me. But you can experiment another one, and that could be a good one for you. So, yeah.
I just want to say one thing. I don't know how many of you remember in the 1980s when calculators came out. Anybody remember? Yeah, they were banned. The schools banned calculators. As not a matter of fact, you were sent home. You were suspended if you brought a calculator to school. Schools take forever to make changes. And so what we need to do is to help them move to this era, the era of AI, and let's see what they can do to help use that AI as a tutor to help the teacher, support for the teacher, not replacing the teacher. So, thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Maggie, in your schools, or in general for thinking hats, what is the biggest challenge? Is it the fear? Is it founding money? What is your biggest challenge?
I think because we are a charity, it is the biggest hurdle for funding because it's not like a typical business model where people do want to see returns. So we see a huge influx of demand for the schools. We've received requests from over 19 countries around the world because we've been lucky to be covered by press. But I think it's a matter of finding creative ways to then infuse philanthropic capital when people may not be motivated outside, maybe tax incentives, for example. So that's sort of what we're facing at the moment. And in terms of the internal school structure and supplying teachers, I think they find it really inspiring, not only the infrastructure itself, because they're motivated to attend, but also giving them hope of a possibility to create their own businesses, because a lot of these communities are more rural. They don't have these network connections and ability to really connect with people who can make their ideas a reality. So a lot of the feedback, especially from parents, is that we're able to give them hope that they can create solutions even at a local level.
You've implemented T.R.I.C. I mean, you're trusting in those communities and providing them a school, showing them respect, working interdependent, collaborate with them, and you're very kind because you're spending a lot of passion and your heart into this charity. So there is one example for T.R.I.C., I would say.
We just need more Maggies in the world.
Yes, I agree. And more Esthers and more. Yeah. And unfortunately, we're almost running out of time, but I'd like to do a quick round and ask all of you, since we talk, some people say we are doomed because of Gen AI, and I know there is a lot of opportunities as well. What is your vision or hope for education in 5 to 10 years from now?
So in the US today, we have a huge population that can't read above the 6th grade level. I don't know if you know that, but the statistics show that more than 55% of Americans read at the 6th grade level or below. So there's an AI called Speechify. I don't know if you've heard about it, but it's great. And what it can do is it can read alongside you if you don't know how to read. So it can help you learn to read. So that would be something we could do to help all these people. And so the question is, how do they get through school without learning to read? Well, unfortunately, it's probably not just the US, it's worldwide. People are passed from grade to grade even though they don't meet the standards.
Thank you.
I want to say that AI, with AI, we can go beyond the, the one-size-fits-all system that we currently have in education and have a personalized education for everyone and everywhere. I'd like to see us having a more inclusive environment, educational environment for everyone because, and here it is, AI is actually breaking down language barriers. You can imagine a global classroom, right? With people speaking various languages, but everyone understands everyone because AI speaks many languages.
I think I would hope that we can scale up a lot of solutions. Like, we're focused more on the foundational level, of course, but to even get to solutions being implemented like AI, we really need to bridge these divides because there's so much promise. And I think often in social media, people are so infatuated with what is in the headlines that we just sort of forget about it the next day when the problems still exist, especially in pockets of the world that we're working in who just don't get the coverage that a lot of things do here in the US.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Maggie, Ronit, Esther. Please talk to those amazing experts, and thank you so much, Steffi and DLD, for having us.
Thank you.